So when I started to go to KAP, for me it was a very new experience. Like, I had done ayahuasca before, but the moment I went into KAP and I realized this is like ayahuasca light version, but as intense and without having to drink and without being in this fuzzy, confused state afterward. Because with ayahuasca, you do have that. It's like you do feel like you're almost like drugged for a while, and you feel very, let's say, unbalanced sometimes. That was my experience. But with KAP, it's so light. It's like you have like a wave of emotion, a wave of energy, changes, and then you go on with your life. It doesn't like disempower you to live. So in the beginning, when I went to KAP, I was just like, I wanted to experience it. Like, okay, this is what this is about. And as soon as I started to have like these visions and my consciousness was shifting and I was releasing a lot, I realized like, whoa, I can use this modality, this space here to like progress in my spirituality, to work with my trapped emotions in my energetic centers, with my unconscious patterns, with my unconscious karmic stuff from my ancestors, whatever. And also to evolve my consciousness. Because every time you get like an upgrade on an emotional level, a physical level, a mental level, or insight, energetic level, whatever, you always get some kind of upgrade. And I felt like there was this feeling like I'm home. I'm home. I feel truly connected with myself. And you feel alive. You feel I'm truly alive. And honestly, I was hooked on it. I was so hooked. So my relationship changed from being curious about it to I need this. I need this to go deeper into myself. I need this, like I had this sense of like, I want to exhaust this modality. I want to get everything that I can out of it. So I went every week. I kept going every week, once a week. Sometimes I would go twice a week. So I would go 4 to 6, 7 times each month. And like, honestly, my experiences, they became more and more immersive, more and more spiritual. And I was like on this constant high. I was on this high energy, high on life. And I was happy and I was energized and I was looking forward to it. Like, it was always like, okay, when's the next KAP session? Okay, when's the next KAP session? Okay, when's the next KAP session? And everything that was happening in my life, it was like, okay, I have to deal with this, have to deal with this, have to deal with this. But I was already waiting to go to KAP. Now in KAP, they tell you, like everything has a divine order, a divine plan. So if you are here at a KAP session, you're supposed to be here, right? You're supposed to be here. And you have to also understand everything in life goes in phases. You have a phase of growth, a phase of integration, a phase of rest, a phase, right? A phase where you want to achieve, a phase where you want to rest, a phase where you fail, a phase where you do other things. So it's all phases. If you look back at your life, there are always phases. So I was stuck in that phase of like just, being almost addicted to it. Like, I talked about this with a facilitator and she told me like, well, you cannot really get addicted to it, but like, and I don't think it's a bad thing to be addicted to, but you can like use it as a tool to run away from your life in some kind of way, because you don't want to deal with the real, so you go for the spiritual. And what I also did was, whenever I talked with the facilitator, because I had this one facilitator and I kept going to her, I asked her, can you, if in your interactions with me, if you see any unconscious patterns in me, if you see that I'm doing unconscious behavior, or when we're doing a sharing, you hear something unconscious in me, can you write about it to me or tell me about it? And she did. So she helped me to be like a mirror, to reflect my shadow. So every time that I would get new information from her, I would use my transpersonal coaching to integrate that, to work it out, to understand why do I have this behavior? Why do I have this tension? So for instance, there was in the sessions, sometimes after the sharings, I would feel really shy, or I wouldn't be able to look at people in the eyes. I would look at people and I would look them in the eyes and I feel this shame or this awkwardness. Or I would feel like when it was my time to talk, I would feel this like heart palpitation, like this nervousness. Or sometimes I would say things like in a very childish way, very eagerly. And every time the facilitator, she told me, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing this, you're doing that. And I would write it down and I would work on it. So I was like uncovering what was the root of this nervousness, of this anxiety, because we're all here together. There's no reason to be nervous. There's no reason to be anxious. So I then became relaxed. I could look at people in the eye, take them in, and then I realized there's something in me that is still resisting. I cannot let people fully in. So I was working on that. Whenever I was with the facilitator, and I would look her in the eyes, I would hold her hands. Something in me was also, and it was like self-doubt, self-worth, shame, pride, all those things. Like I kept using every session to work to uncover what was being triggered in me, and every trigger that I had seen, I would like, honestly, it was a whole list, but for me it was like I was on this speed lane of integration and uncovering triggers, uncovering my shadow. And so as the sessions progressed, I noticed that I became more and more light in my body. It was like I was on a very high frequency all the time, because after a session you're on high frequency, and my body was full of this energy. So my sessions became so explosively energetic charged. So if in the beginning of the sessions I would be lying there on the ground, being still, being calm, all of a sudden at a session I would now be screaming like a madman, having like movements, having these experiences, having these interactions, having like, because you're on this high frequency, you're more perceptive and you're more open to higher levels of consciousness and higher levels of perception. So the energy, it's like you're more open to have deeper experiences. You're more open to have like really mystical kind of experiences. And it was way too much actually. And she started to see that, and one day she called me up because I had done 3 sessions in a week. Or it was like, and I had done also a session with another person, and she had heard about that. And then she had a call with the trainer, Vincent Wong, and they have like this monthly calls, and he talked about how integration is really important, and that you should basically do a session once a week or once every 2 weeks, but you need integration time. So she told me, Igor, look, I think you're overdoing it. I think you're using this to, you're too hooked into this. You're using this to avoid life or something. And something in me was like, oh, she wants to take this away from me. How dare she? Something was mad in me. It was like I'm having so much fun. I feel alive. I feel good. Like my depression was lifting. Everything was becoming better in my life. Like my relationship was changing. My interests were changing. My spiritual life was alive again. Things were falling into place. I was interacting with new activities. I was expanding my my abilities. I was learning new things. Like energetically, I was like in sync with the universe again. And something in me was like, oh my God, she wants to take this away from me. And she was also like, you know, when you are in a group session, oftentimes because you have these very, very like comprehensive experiences, almost like a movie, you have this tendency to overshare. So people sometimes in the beginning, when they're beginners, they have 1 or 2 experiences and they're good with it. But when they hear your movie with angels and they hear about you meeting some mystic and you having this and that and ancestors and the energy and the this and the that, they feel a bit dismayed. They're like, huh, I guess my thing wasn't as good as his. And I thought about it and I was like, sure, some people must feel like that. So then next session I asked, and some people were like, no, maybe some people do feel, but there are also people who feel inspired by you because they know there's much more to experience, because if he experienced it, it means I can also experience it, and other people can experience it too if they go deeper into the sessions. But what did we agree? Me and the facilitator, we agreed that I would only go once a week max, right? And for me in the beginning, it felt really strange. I felt like, I cannot choose where to go anymore. Like I had this whole routine, you know, like going to the session, having the session, helping the facilitator clean up, talking with her, going home, writing about it. And then that part was like done. And I was like, shit, what do I do now? What do I do now? And I was then like, every week after a session, the week felt so long. You know, in the movie when you see a tunnel and they make this effect like they're prolonging it and you're like looking, ooh, it became like that. And I was like, my God, what do I have to do? So all of a sudden, everything in my life became a chore. But then, like as the weeks progressed, I was more settling in my body. Everything was slowing down. I was being more grounded. And I was like, huh, this is actually really great, because this is about balance. This is teaching me about balance. This is about, you have experiences and you need time in your life for those experiences to be fruitful, because whatever has changed in you, it needs some time in your life to be reflected. So let's say if I am one person today and then the next day something happened, changed, I need a couple of days to interact with my world, to make new choices, to allow things to shift, to understand, okay, this is gone, this is new, this was the old, this is the new, this is who I really am now, this is what I'm choosing now. And you step into your alignment, you step into your true alignment, your true purpose, your true path. And then you're like, okay, this is actually, it's like I'm digesting everything. I'm digesting and I'm growing here. And then I was like, okay. And then my relationship changed and I wasn't like so hooked to it anymore. I didn't feel like I want to go to every session. I just felt like, wow, I appreciate the integration way more than the session now. The session is like I get this inflow of divine energy, this inflow of source connection, where I have a lot of downloads and a lot of releases and a lot of reconfiguration, attunement, whatever. But then I get to live my life, because before it was like I have to wait for the next session and I have to live my life. But now is I get to live my life. I get to make new choices. I get to express myself in new ways. I get to discover who I am. I get to discover who I can be. I get to discover new experiences, new trainings, new possibilities. I get to discover the changes that are apparent or weren't apparent before. And it was so interesting. Also, what I noticed was, whenever, like after the sessions and now, whenever I'm with people and I hug them or I just near them, I feel their energy. I feel whether they're contracted or when they're open. So whenever I hug somebody, I feel like whether the energy is streaming or it's not streaming. And sometimes I stay with people like hugging them for like a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, just so that our breathing synchronizes. So if they're like contracted and I'm breathing in and out, it's like after a while, they like relax, relax, and it starts to synchronize, and they also relax. And it's like so nice. It's like these subtleties, this, or with when I'm with people, I have this real interest, curiosity to like where are they at, what are they interested in, and like sometimes I notice I can offer some help with some things. I can offer to be of assistance with some things, and I'm learning new things. I'm involved in new things. So now it's like it's very balanced. Sometimes I go more, sometimes I don't go for a month. Sometimes I don't think about it. Sometimes I think about it. I need to go. But I realize there's a divine timing and a divine order to everything. So I just have to trust that if I go, if I have to go, I will go. I will feel the urge to go. But it won't be from this need, because before I did notice it in myself. There was this sense of like, I need to go. I need to go. I want to go. And if I missed it, there was FOMO, fear of missing out. There was a feeling of like, I don't want to miss out of a session because I could have one of those experiences like I had before. But that's because I was not appreciating the value of living my life in the moment, right? And now I do. Because now the mindset is, and now I get to experience this. And now I get to experience this. And now I get to experience making this video. And now I get to experience looking at the tree. And now I get to. Instead of, oh, I have to, but I want this, but I want that. No, everything is a gift. Everything is a revelation. There's no end point. There's no end where it's like you're all knowing, all seeing, it's all done and well. It's always a revelation. There's always going to be new revelations, because in the end, we don't know. The only thing that we know for sure, 100%, is that we are. I am. All the other stuff is assumption, right? So thank you very much for watching this video. Have a good day.